and welcome to Bardwood Grove by Final Frontier Games. Now, in this video, we're going to be doing a solo playthrough, just a bit of a teaser, just to understand how the solo plays, and then after that, we're going to be doing a review, going to go through the pros, the cons, and is Bardwood Grove really right for your collection? So, first up, we're going to be touching on the solo. Now, before we do, Bardwood Grove is from the Final Frontiers universe of 5 Realms. So the 5 Realms universe includes Merchant's Cove, sitting up there looking all nice and pretty. Love me some Merchant's Cove, but they've also just released a Kickstarter, which is the 6th realm now. So it's 6 realms within the 5 Realm universe. Anyway, very confusing, but the realm we care about is Bardwood Grove, and the theme is we are bards. We are halflings bards, beautiful musicians, and we're going around in Bardwood Grove. We're going to be doing a whole bunch of different things on this board. We're going to be soothing some creatures, basically getting some creatures with our beautiful music, bringing them into our play area. We're going to get some fans. Some fans are going to love our music. We're going to be going up the river, and this river is going to give us discounts on our endgame objectives, the Sea of Legend over there. Whole bunch of worker placement spots, and this is my meeple right here, and I am a harp player, beautiful bard harp player. Now, they don't have names, so I'm going to call myself Penelope, and I'm going up against the red-headed banjo player. Look, I don't know what her name is, we'll just call her Courtney. Courtney versus Penelope. So solo over this side, my player board over this side. And look, the main things you need to know about my player board is up here, we're going to have volume. Over here, we're going to be laying out cards to play a song. Playing a song is going to get us resources. Those resources we're going to be able to spend on these worker placement spots. So that's the main mechanic there. We also have a tempo wheel right here. So it's in quadrants. So once we go full 360, we're going to be singing that song, and that's how we're going to be playing our song out here and getting those resources. First thing we're going to need to do is we're going to get 2 cards. So we're going to look at those 2 cards. They're both skill cards, which is good. And what we're going to do is we're going to be looking at both the top and the bottom of these cards, and we now need to make a decision. So we're going to be playing for the top of the card out into our song and the bottom of our card into our discard pile. Now, we've already got a fan already sitting in our discard pile. That's just how we start the game. And I'm thinking I might put this card in my discard and this card into my song. Now, this is telling me I'm going to get 2 volume. So again, 2 volume. I'm also going to move 2 on the tempo wheel. 1, 2. Next, we grab a rune, we take a rune off, because eventually we're going to take these runes off and we're going to get some bonuses underneath there. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to get some movement. So we're going to have 3 movement for this quadrant. Now I can break up that movement between my meeple and my boat up there. So what I might do for now, let's do 1 movement there with my meeple, and I'm going to do 2 of my boat. Remember, the higher I go up the river, the more of a discount I'm going to get for these endgame objectives. So now I look, am I singing a song? No, I'm not. So I move to the final stages here, and that's just grabbing 2 more cards. Now, when I grab one of these blue cards, these are improv cards, they go straight into my song. So let's grab another skill card, and look, they're ready to go for my next round. But let's move over now to solo. Now we're solo. It's fairly easy. Well, let's sort of have a look at it. They're going to have a deck of solo cards. And the first thing they're going to do is they're going to be laying out their tempo wheel. So right now, the tempo wheel starts here, and they're going to get 1 tempo wheel. So that's the first thing that they're going to do. Next, they grab another card and they put it off to their song side over here. This is telling the solo bod where they're going to move the meeple. So this is telling me I'm going to move the meeple 1 to the right. So we move it 1 to the right. And then whenever we leave a spot, we're going to lay out a trail, and this is going to be really important because when they sing a song, they're going to collect everything that they've laid a trail on. So very important that. Now, the other thing to note here is my meeple is in the middle of all of these worker placement spots, whereas the solo meeple is actually on the rows and landing on each spot. So just a difference there. Now, other things while we're here, we've got a market here. This market is going to change the price of these 4 cards in the middle when we go to the shops. Up in the top left-hand corner, we have an event. Top right-hand corner, we have a second event. The way it works is we are currently in the first event phase, and we have 10 green gems here. When those 10 green gems are finished, we're going to then move on to the second event. And then when all of those gems are finished, that's when the game is over. So that's how you know the game's over. Now these gems are victory points. That's how we're going to win the game, by collecting these gems, plus also the gems that are on these cards, the blue gems, and then also these end game objectives. So that's how you win the game. Now, look, I'm not even going to do the events because there's so much going on for now. Let's just pretend there's an event going on. Like I said, not going to worry about it. Let's try and keep it simple. Cool. So I have now moved their meeple, I have put out their tempo. Now the thing you're gonna ask yourself is, have they finished their solo deck? Definitely not, plenty still there. Have they gone all the way around? Are they singing a song? No, they're not. So we move back to myself over here now. So we've got my 2 cards out. We go back to making that decision. 1 in your discard, 1 in your song. And I think for now, I'm gonna go with this one in my song, this one in my discard. So that's gonna give me 2 volume, and it's gonna give me 2 tempo. 1, 2. So we have now gone all the way around. We are now singing a song. But the first thing we're gonna do, get our runestone off, do our movement. We've only got 1 movement. Now, what's important with the movement here is I can challenge a bard, and also the solo bot can challenge me. So that's one thing. We have all these badges here, and there's gonna be challenges. That's gonna be one part of this gameplay. So we've gotta be careful of that. I wanna try and avoid their bard. I'm gonna try and avoid Courtney as much as I can. And right now, I'm kind of happy where I am over here. But what I'm gonna do, let's go with, what should we do? Actually, no, I'm gonna do 1 movement over here. That's where I'll end my turn. I have the 1 movement, and I am ready now to sing my song. So the way this works is I've got all my cards here, and I get to do these in any order. So right now I'm on 4 volume. What I might do is let's do 2 more volume to get me up to my maximum of 6 volume. Next up, I can do, which one should we do first? I kind of like this one. Let's grab a coin. So this one is telling me I get to grab a coin as my first option. Then if I spend 4 volume, I also get the bottom one. So I'm gonna do that, spend 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's now gonna get me 2 melody. So this little box of booming over here, it's just a little counter. So I'm now on 2 melody. So you have melody, and the blue one is lyrics. They're your 2 main resources. So I've now done both of those cards. Now this card here and this card here, what should I do next? I don't have enough volume to really do any of them. So let's just do this one. We're gonna get 1 more melody, and I end up on 3 melody, 0 lyrics. That's what I've got. Unfortunately, probably not very efficient, but what can we do with that? Now, if I had lyrics, I could be going to the Sea of Legends, but I need a minimum of 4, 6, or 8 to be able to go there. And again, why am I doing that? I'm getting endgame objective cards, but I'm also getting gems by doing that. But unfortunately, don't have enough lyrics at this stage to be able to do that. But eventually, it's a deck builder. I'm going to be getting better and better cards and eventually pulling them out into my song. Over here, now, I do have a coin. So right now, the cost of these cards in the middle are 1 coin. So I'm going to spend my 1 coin to get 1 card there. Now, whenever we get one of these skill cards, the market stall goes up. So that goes straight into my deck, ready to go for my next turn. So I've done that action. I can't do that action. I've got 2 lyrics. I've got 3, let's spend 2 of them. And now we get to get one of these motifs over here. So there's a whole bunch of different motifs. And what I might do, I kind of like the idea of having more coins. So this one here gets me 4 coins. I'll flip that over. And the next time someone goes to that one, instead of getting the coins, you now get the gem. And then when they get the gem, that flips back over to the coins, and that's just how the motifs work. So I've now done that one, sorry, can't do that one, done that one, and up here now. This would cost me 3 volume. I don't have 3 volume, but this would also get me either a coin, or it could get me a range stone, or if I had some creatures, I could get some creatures into my deck. But for now, I can't do any of that. So I have now sung my song. These ones go back into my discard. Your first card, your instrumental card there always stays in starting your song. And this goes back, token goes back. I now draw 2 more cards. 1, 2, ready for my next round. And they are ready to go. So I am finished with my turn. Now over to solo. Remember, 1 card in discard helps me with the tempo, 1 tempo. And then 1 card over here to tell me where the movement is. So we're now gonna have 1 movement to the left, 1 movement down. So 1 movement left, 1 movement down. Remember, always going and chasing my tail. So I've gone there, I've already got 1 there, and for now, that stops there. Question as always, is my solo deck finished? No. Have I sung a song? No. Back to myself. Here we go, I've got 2 cards. Let's go with, I might put this one up here and this one over here. So it's going to get me 1 volume and 1 tempo. Again, put my rune over there. Have I completed all my runes? No. Next up, my movement, 2 movement. maybe I might start wanting to think about trying to get these creatures perhaps. So what I might do is I might do one movement over to the creature there, and I'll do one movement up here. Now I'll move over to solo. Let's go. Oh, firstly, I'm going to grab 2 more cards. There's only 1 card there, so I'll need to shuffle. And we got the 2 cards ready to go for next round. So solo, oh, here we go. So first one, 1. Next one, 1 movement to the left. So we can move across here. Let's put a number down so we know we've been there. Now these portals actually take us to different areas. So this is a blue portal, so it's going to bring us all the way over to here. There we go. So I've done my movement. Still not ready for a song. Ready for my turn again. Let's go. I think for now, I kind of like the idea of just using this one. So this will give me 1 volume and 1 tempo. I get rid of my rune. I now get an advantage, and I've now uncovered an extra 2 volumes. So I'm maxed out on my volume 6 volume, which is max chickens. Okay, so I'm done. Grab my 2 cards. Now, a super fan. So fans now come out. So the fan cards are really cool. So what happens, these are just instant bonuses. You put them straight in the discard and you get one or the other. So I can either get a coin or I can get 2 volume. Now, already maxed out my volume, so I will grab myself a coin. Done. So that is done. I still need 2 cards, so let's draw another one. And again, I get a blue card, so they go straight into my song. Draw another one. And there we go. Solo. They're finally going to be singing a song. So there we go. 1. We're now singing a song, and 2 just to see where the movement is, and it's going to be 1 up. So where are we? We'll go up onto here. So that is everything we need to do. Look, we could put that out there, but it won't really matter. You can't do anything on portals. Now it is time to sing a song. Now this is how solo sings a song. So the first thing they're going to do is see if they can challenge me. So is my meeple next to any of these numbers or next to their meeple? No. So that's fine. So they're not going to be challenging me. If they challenge me, they would take one of my badges and they would collect the badges. So again, just different ways of interaction, which is really cool. So next thing now, we're going to now backtrack on all of our numbers and start collecting things. So again, no point putting number 4 out there because the portal does nothing. So let's move to number 3. Now this is an enemy right here, a creature. So the first thing we look at is, are there any badges on there? No, there's not. So what we're gonna do, Solo's gonna put a badge on there. Now the next time they come back to this creature, because there's a badge on there, they're gonna take that creature into their thing, remembering the creatures are worth 1 point. So that is now done. We go to number 2. And now there's a skills card. So what's going to happen is they're going to gain that skills card, which is kind of great for them because that's going to be 1 point. I'm just going to put in here, they're going to just start collecting a pile of cards and they're going to start scoring their points based off that. And because they got a skill card, the market stall goes up. So now things are going to be more expensive. Those cards now are going to cost me 2 coins instead of 1. And then I go back to number 1, which is the Poet House. And the Poet House is just 3 volumes. So let's give the Solo 3 volume. And that is done. So that is the solo, the experience of singing a song. You've seen how I sing a song. I think for now, that is just a little taste of the solo. It just gives you an idea of how the solo plays. Now, what is interesting to note is in the solo, there's different rules for when you're on event 1 to when you're on event 2. So that's something you need to know. So there's a lot of rules you need to understand for different event cards. So you're gonna find you're probably going to be referring to the solo manual a fair bit when you're kicking it off. But anyway, that is solo, so let's get into the review. Now, it's been a couple of nights since I got to play the solo run through, so it's really given me some time to think about this game, and I want to talk about the pros first, and the pros are definitely the universe. Now, Merchant's Cove absolutely sucking me into this. Now, it's the only game I've got in this 5 realms, or six realms now, but Merchant's Cove was one of the most uniquest experiences I've ever had. Everyone having their own mechanic, which is separate to everyone else, playing their own mini game in front of them, was fascinating. Now, is Bardwood Grove as good as Merchant's Cove? No. But is it still bloody good? Yes, and that's what we're going to talk about right now. So Universe, I love the fact, it reminds me a little bit like Everdell. You know how you got the core Everdell, and then each expansion grows that world out. Now, do you know one of the best things about Everdell was that Tales of Green Acorn, and I love that book because it gave me more insight into that world and everything just blended together. I would love something like that for the 5 Realms universe. Look, maybe when we get into the next Kickstarter, give me a book. I would 100% back that. Anyway, I digress. Let's get back into the pros. So universe, art, love it. Now, what else? I love the pacing in this game. The 2 event system and the way we have gems. So you're gonna have your first event there and a certain amount of gems. Once those gems are finished, that event's now finished. We move on to the second event. Once those gems are finished, the game is done. I love that as a pacing and timing mechanic. I felt that as absolutely very, very fresh, and it got me thinking, if the game felt a little bit long, could I take a couple of gems off to quicken the game up? Yeah, I can't think, why not? Potentially in solo, maybe it might imbalance it a little bit, but definitely in multiplayer, nothing's stopping you from taking a couple of gems off and shortening the experience. So we definitely have that sort of timing mechanic. Now, this player board, when you think about the theme, we are bards and we're playing music. That's unique, that's different. How do you make that? How do you turn that into a mechanic? Well, they've absolutely nailed it. The fact we are building out our song, the fact we have volume, tempo, our resources are going to be lyrics and melody, and it's amazing. So I love the fact that each turn you grab 2 cards. You have a strategic choice at that particular point in time. Do you put one card in your discard for its tempo and its volume, and then you got to think about the other card for its resources that eventually you're going to get when you place out your meeple around this board. Now, that's the other strategic choice. Your meeple, you've got four areas around it, and you've got 4 things that you can do. So there's so much to think about there. So mechanic-wise, amazing. The artwork, amazing. Universe, amazing. And lastly, let's talk about these 4 boxes. There's 5 of them in there. Now, this is a pretty complex game, and the fact they didn't overload you too much at the start, and they actually say you play a game just with the core basic mechanics, then you open up one of these boxes, and the next game you play for a little bit more, the next game you play for a little bit more, and then eventually in 5-6 games time, you've got everything out. And I absolutely love that so much. I think that was a great way to introduce the game. So let's talk about the cons, and I really want to talk about my biggest con right here. Solo mode. Now, the book here, it's, I don't know, 10 pages long or 8 pages long. It's fine. It's a book. But do they have to make the solo so finicky? I almost have PTSD thinking about reading that rule book and trying to understand all the rules and absorb it and keep it in my head. Now, there is different rules when you're on event 1, so all of these spots have certain rules that solo abides by in event 1. Then you got to forget all of those, and in event 2, there's all different rules for each one of these spots. That was finicky, and I absolutely hated that. I don't have the memory to think about that, so I'm constantly, even after playing solo multiple times, I'm still looking at that rule book because that solo rules was super finicky, so I absolutely hated that. Now, this one, look, I don't know. I think this is still a con. This is a Kickstarter version. So this is the deluxe version right here. And, you know, it's got the upgrade pack and got all these beautiful wooden tokens. And I love that. The wooden meeples there. Everything beautiful. The deluxe. But the one thing they didn't upgrade was the coins. So you have all these beautiful wooden components. And then the coins are cardboard. And you use the coins just as much as you use the other components. And to have one item, not wooden tokens, that really frustrated me. That is something so little, and I feel like such a snob now, but if I'm going to back a deluxe Kickstarter, just give me everything. Don't give me 1 or 2 items that aren't deluxe and mix it together. It's frustrating. I hate that. So there's that. The next we'll talk about, look, the weight of the game, a little bit heavier than Merchant's Cove. So just something to think about. I don't know if that's a con. It depends on your sort of personality and the games you like to play. But just note the weight is a little bit heavier. And then finally, the table presence is definitely a table hog. Now, this is just solo. So imagine this. We're going to have 2 more players going on there. Especially you add in this 5th player expansion. There's a lot going on. You're going to need a big table. Actually, let's quickly talk about this. This is the expansion here, Spirits of the Grove. Adds in spirits, which are going to give you one-off abilities. It's going to give you a 5th player option. It's going to give you more event cards and some more bards. And yeah, I haven't opened it yet, but there you go, expansion. You didn't need it for this video anyway, but that's what the expansion is if you're into expansions. So definitely a lot going on, so you will need a big table. So look, the main con really is that solo finickiness that I didn't appreciate. And there we go. So that's the pros and cons. Let's now say, who is this game for? And I think to myself, because this is a bit on the medium to medium heavyweight range, it reminds me of games a bit like Tekken. Now, I really love Tekken, but I felt like that solo could have been simplified just a little bit, would have been nice. Again, there's that medium heavyweight, there's a lot going on. Giving me just vibes of something like that, where we really could have just, simplified it just a little bit. There's so many different things going on, and my mind, I just can't remember everything. So look, if you're into those, again, those, I would say medium to medium heavyweight games, like Tekken and some of those games, then yeah, you're gonna really love this. So mechanic wise, everything is fresh, the artwork is beautiful, the fact it's part of a larger universe is amazing, but just note that I enjoyed multiplayer more than I enjoyed the solo experience. So that's just something just to note. And that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about, Bardwood Grove. Look, again, I don't know what the retail's like. I'm going to assume everything's just all cardboard. Actually, I do remember seeing it, and things like these, bard stones and sound stones, range stones, they're all just cardboard, and it's not the same. I am definitely a snob now. I love good deluxe components, I really do. So anyway, Bardwood Grove, look, that's my thoughts on it. Let me know in the comments below, have you played any of the other games in this Five Realms universe? Because I'd love to know if I should be trying to track down some of those other games. So again, love Merchant's Cove. Again, really like this game, but would I love the others? So that's all I have. Anyway, till next time, I'm Hose. This is the Bangers Project. Laters.